Hello, geeks and gamers. Matt Lemke here with your gamer goggles, gamer-goggles.com. And today we are going to do another flip through. This is on Pathfinder's Book of the Damned, and I'll be right back. So, warning, there is possible controversial content ahead. This book contains information on demons, daemons, devils, and the worlds thereof and their worshippers. This is published by Paizo, and it's 286 pages long. As you can see, most of this is 132 pages of the 286 page book is on Fiendish divinities. So basically, these are the divine beings of these said religions, so to speak. Now, since it's right here in the beginning, I want to talk about the Book of the Damned. The Book of the Damned is a magic item that does all kinds of crazy things. There's special instructions for destroying it. I didn't really do too much in the way of reading what it does because it is a big thing and I don't foresee myself ever using it. That doesn't mean that I won't. But the Book of the Damned looks cool. And in the back, there's apparently, I didn't know this, with all of my understanding of the occult lore and stuff for gaming, I did not realize there's an actual Book of the Damned. And these are excerpts from the Book of the Damned in the back. Some of it's pretty neat art. Anyway, I will continue on. Right here is a little thing about disturbing theme. I'll start by saying that some of the art is racy, but my degree is in Bible and theology, and I wasn't offended by their approach to this. But I am also not the most conservative of Christians. I wouldn't say I'm not conservative either. I would say I'm somewhere in between super conservative and super strict to the relaxed individuals that can be out there within the realm of Christianity. So with that said, I wasn't offended. That doesn't mean you're not going to be. I'm not sure I would share this book with my children when they were in their early to mid-teens because it is more, in my opinion, more adult-like content. And then we start to move through the book here real quick, and it talks about the other fiendish divinities and how they apply to the book. Over here you have your fiendish divinity entries, and then it talks about fiendish obedience a little bit. If you're familiar with obedience, is basically they're a type of devotion that you would do if you were of a said type of religion, and you do it to a particular, in this case, fiendish divinity. So over here they have your layout for everyone. When you do a fiendish obedience every day, you would do whatever it instructs you to do here, and then you would get a feat for the day, or a power for the day, we should say, based off of your die level, what character class you are, whether you're a prestige class or not. And the different boons are Evangelist, Exalted, and Sentinel. If you have the Fiendish Obedience and you're not one of the prestige classes, you get an Exalted boon. And then we flip through, and there's all kinds of different obediences or divinities throughout the book. And I decided I was going to just take one and look at it. That's how we're going to go through this book. Rather than boring you by flipping through every page. I mean, I'm still going to flip through for you. But we're going to take a look at Mephistopheles when we get there. He's one of the ones that, most people are kind of familiar with, so they can get an idea of the different aspects of how they did this for all of the different types of fiendish divinities that are in the book. And as you can see, I mean, the art's not too bad. There are a couple of pictures that are quite a bit racier than that, and maybe I'll stumble across the one I'm referring to. You know, but I mean, they could have done a lot worse and made the art a lot more adult. I think they did it. They did a very tasteful job with doing the art the way they wanted to. And uh, where is where is Mephistopheles? He should be like right here. That's a cool picture. It is not my favorite picture of the book. Here we go. Mephistopheles. And I'll zoom in for this part. So you learn that he's a lawful male archdevil of contracts, devils, and secrets. He has domains of evil, knowledge, law, and rune, the subdomains of devil, language, memory, and thought. His obedience is using, oops, there we go, sorry about that. Using a quill and a vial of blood as ink, draw up a contract on a roll of parchment in which you repledge your soul and service to Mephistopheles in exchange for the power of the Crimson Sun grants you. This day during your lifetime, re-roll parchment and seal it with any number of, or any symbol of Mephistopheles you see fit. Gain 1 DR damage resistance to good and silver. Now, if you're of the appropriate hit die or character class, you would move through the different boons. As a character with 12 hit die, you would be fulfilled by hell. So you would gain the spell-like power of memorize page 3 times a day, honeyed tongue twice a day, or marionette possession once a day. And when you hit, I think it's 14 hit dice, you would go to signed with Visneer, and then you would go with eternal contractual damnation if you were of a higher level. And then over here, starting at the bottom of this particular page, Mephistopheles offers the world those willing to pay his price, all kinds of stuff, and goes into all kinds of arcane lore about Mephistopheles. I wouldn't say there's enough here to write a whole campaign around Mephistopheles, but you can certainly add a lot of flavor, create tons of character conflict with an entry like this with your Pathfinder game. And you know, as you go through, again, every entry is going to be pretty much the same. It's going to have the stats, the obedience, the boons, and then the information on that particular divinity. Here's one of the pictures that I was saying is quite a bit racy. But for the most part, you don't get into a lot of things that you can with demons and devils and daemons. They've done a really cool job. Like, I mean, you know, they could have done a lot worse with this. And that's the divinities. So we're going to skip through now to towards the end of the chapter, and we're going to move into the next chapter, which is the Fiendish realms. And we're not going to spend a lot of time in the Fiendish realms because it really is a lot of stuff for you to sandbox a campaign around. So, for example, in Hell, you have the different pages where they cover the different, for lack of a better word to say it, the different planes of Hell. You've got Avernus. You have a little bit of some of the important things of that particular plane. Two things that happen all the way through Hell, I will briefly chat about because I found them fun. You have Hellfires, which take all kinds of different forms. Just picture like this really big, huge fire elemental that does all kinds of different things. It's very broad and vague, so you get to create whatever you want with them. And Hellmouths are basically living orifices that can bleed actually into even other planes or parts of the Hells. You have Avernus, you have Dis, Everus, and all of these things, there's enough information here where you can probably build an entire campaign around, along with, you know, more of the combined information on the different fiendish divinities. And then they also have information on, where is Abaddon, which is, this is actually of the 3 different fiendish realms that are listed in here. I think it's 3. This was my favorite read. And then you move from Abaddon into the Abyss, which the Abyss is always fun. And then there's other fiendish realms. The one that I liked here is the holdings of Rakshas. I always do this with this word for some reason. And basically, they're present everywhere in the world, right? But this is a corrupt civilization portion where they typically live and work their machinations alone. Um, what else did I want to say about this? Wait, they often hide right in plain sight because well they're shapeshifters, right? Crime lords, whatever you want them to be. And then this little thing down here is more about visitors are allowed into their borders. So this is like a little segment of Place of Evil where they basically can torture people that wander into their abode. I like the whole shapeshifter thing. I like the fact that they dedicated some time to it. There's also a section right next to it on Oni, which Oni are always cool, and Oni strongholds. Which the one thing about this is it's universal enough that you don't have to like build this up to be like some great society of holdings. It could be this holdings of the Rakshas can be somebody's house, or Oni Daimo strongholds could be one stronghold or a series of strongholds. And that's really most of it on the realms. Inside the Book of the Damned, there's some, it breaks down the book a little bit more and talks about servants of the book and things of that nature. Doesn't catch me nearly as much as some of the Fiendish influences. This includes a brief overview of the different types of basically cults. And each one is broken down pretty much the same way, in with however their fluff allows them. So you include basically a pitch for the worship. You include what the worshipers do, how they worship, and how devout they are to them. And then after you have all of your different cults, you get into feats and whatever's required of them. There's like 13 of them. My favorite one is actually Fiendish Wings. Basically, non-native outsider with evil subtype. You actually can sprout wings and gain fly speed equal to your regular move speed. And then there's 2 new domains and 14 subdomains, of which my favorite was arson. I just like fire. I've always liked fire. Associated domain fire. And you gain the following granted power. Basically, you can call fire from an open flame up to like 60 feet away, and it comes to you in the form of a ribbon. So like you can have somebody's campfire behind them, and the fire will jump to you. I think that's just pretty cool. Narratively speaking, you can have a lot of fun with that. It's just, yeah, I think it's a lot of fun. And then after you start getting into that, you get into spells. At this point in time, I mean, we know how spells work. This Sharon's Dispensation one was kind of neat because it allows you to drink the water from the River of Styx. And you can kind of be protected from it, but there's some serious side effects to almost all of these spells. They definitely have a price. And then there's some ritual magic. I didn't delve too much into that. Now, I'm going to go out here, right real quick and say ritual magic does not contain instructions for doing actual rituals. I'm going to be very clear about that. You don't role play it out. It just tells you the effects of the spell and basically the failure of the spell. And then we move through into the other influences, which we start getting into things like talismans and magic items. Some of these are pretty cool. In here, actually, there is... I don't remember where it is. I'm going to go back to the beginning of the book real quick because I don't remember where it's at. The Book of the Damned actually has a ritual on how to destroy it. And that is featured on page 187. We already passed it. It's probably the last ritual of the spells. And it gives you pretty detailed instructions on how to do the ritual. You have to divide the book into different pieces and things of that nature. This is actually one of my favorite pictures of the book for some reason. Something about that little gargoyle-y, dragon-y like beast that this wizard/cleric is summoning. But my favorite part of the book is actually the part on infernal contracts. Infernal contracts are really cool because they give you this whole breakdown on how they're written, how to negotiate a contract, how to create the contract. They even have the little entry here for being a legist. You can instantly conjure an infernal contract into being, which is kind of neat. And then they have researching the contracts. They have escaping contracts. And then they have some sample contracts. So basically, the way this breaks down, and maybe we should look at a contract. So right here we have a pact of blood taking. We'll look at this real quick. We're not going to go over the details of what the contract is, but here's who makes it. And then that's how much experience points, basically, payment, blah, blah, blah. Research, this is where it gets important. You have to research the contract. It's a difficulty of 12, but basically you need these skills or a combination of these skills to be able to research it. And these are, KP is, I don't remember what those are called. KP is the contract's maximum number of knowledge points. So basically if you get to 6 KP in your research, you have unlocked this. If you actually break it down to 0, you basically can terminate you found the termination clause. So contracts can be very difficult to deal with, and I think in some games they are going to make a very neat addition. Oh, and then they have I think it's three prestige classes. And then they have a bestiary, which we're not going to spend a lot of time in the bestiary. My favorite part of this book was contracts. I was really surprised by how much I liked it. But here's different daemons and things in the book. Subcategories for all the daemons, and they have demons. And Denzians of the Abyss, of course. And then you run into your indexes. There's that dude. I like this guy too. Two-headed lion guy. Asura. And then, well, I already showed you this part. Excerpts of the Book of the Damned. So, that is the Book of the Damned. And I have to say, I don't remember the person who actually asked me to review this for them. It's here, it's done. I originally didn't purchase the book because it's not something that I ever generally really use is demons and devils a lot. I don't have a lot of campaigns that go that way as a GM, so I didn't do that. So who is the book for? First and foremost, I would say it's for a game master. And then there's a couple of prestige classes in here, and there's some stuff about the occult. But I think if there's players that want to use this, I think they're a little bit limited. This is definitely more of a game master book for creating worlds and things of that nature and building up your story. You can easily use this as a tool to accent or highlight or make any of your games with any of the Pathfinder adventure paths better games. You can instill this in the Curse of the Crimson Throne with certain characters. You can have a demon or a devil show up and write a contract. I think that, for me, the book I think was $39.99. No, it's $44.99. And for me, this book is worth it just for the contract rules. I've never seen anybody do it in role-playing before, and I like the approach they did. It feels very much like it's a Pathfinder mechanic, and it's a mechanic that you can plug into any Pathfinder game. So anyway, guys, thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, and share. I will see you in about a week with another review. Talk to you later. Hi, guys. Meet the Nibbles, who's gonna go down. She just decided not to go down my back, so we'll do this for her so she's comfy. Thanks for watching my video, and I appreciate it. Please hit the like button and share it if you know somebody who might be interested. And of course, there's always Twitter and the Facebook thingy, and soon I have a newsletter coming. That'll be down there or in a link below, and my kitty cat loves that idea. So anyway, there was one more thing. Oh yeah, subscribe. Be a part of my community, our community. Let's make it grow together. See you guys
at a con somewhere, or a local store, or if I'm driving through the country, maybe a game club. I don't know, you're not going to go knock down my camera. Bye, guys.